rhetoric here. So Donald Trump, during his rally, his first rally after the FBI raid, this has been like a thing he's been doing. I don't quite know how long he's been doing this, but I know it's been, for a couple years. I think he started talking about this as his presidency was winding down. Now, once again, the Orange Man, aka Donald Trump, lost the 2020 election. He's a loser. He's a big fat loser. Okay? And anyway, so he's dialing up rhetoric about drugs, the war on drugs. Hasn't it done enough damage in this country? By the way, Donald Trump, known drug addict, right? He snorts everything and pops everything in a fucking 30-mile radius from him. And he's going to talk about how drugs are destroying society and how we should execute drug dealers. Let's watch.
Under Democrat control, the streets of our great cities are drenched in the blood of innocent victims. Much of this crime is caused by drug dealers who, during the course of their lives, will kill an average of 500 American citizens. Every drug dealer is responsible, and that doesn't include what they've done to families of people that haven't died, but families that are just devastated by.
So, okay, so 500 people, is that like throughout their entire lifetime? And then also, what drugs? Like, what drugs are killing people? Like, if you want to say someone's out there, like, selling fentanyl, but claiming they're, like, they're putting fentanyl in weed or something, I've heard that, right? Then, yeah, okay, they're a fucker. But also, what led to that situation? Oh, right, the drugs being illegal in the first place. If they were regulated by the government, that wouldn't fucking happen. Or at least it wouldn't happen nearly as much, right? So the reason why drug dealers have such power and can actually, even if it's accidentally, kill so many people is because of the war on drugs. But then also, I want to ask a question. What drugs? Like, what if someone is, maybe they own a liquor store? They're a drug dealer, right? Are they responsible for killing 500 people throughout their lifetime? Maybe. You could make that argument. Are you going to say we should execute anyone that owns a liquor store? What if you own a coffee shop? Right? What about Howard Schultz? Is he a drug dealer? I don't know. I don't know, man. Starbucks employs slave labor overseas to get their cheap coffee. I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, what kind of, I don't know. Anyway, so let's keep watching.
What happened to their children and to themselves. Think of it, 500 people, the average drug dealer. I'm calling for the death penalty for drug dealers, which will, upon its passage, reduce drug distribution in our country on day one by 75%. No more blue ribbon committees telling us what to do,
What?
I was setting them up in the White House. There's a blue ribbon committee headed by socialites. And they just want, look, they're very nice people, but they just want a little publicity for themselves.
So anyway, here's another clip.
These committees, they kill 500 people during a lifetime. And I think it's much worse than that. I think that's only what we hear about.
So, okay, 500 people in a lifetime. I'd love to know where that fucking stupid-ass statistic came up with. But, so he's going to throw that one out there. I don't know where he came up with it. He probably made it up. And then he's going to say, well, many people are saying it's 500, but I think it's way more. Like, that's when he's like, 75 million people voted for me. And then an additional 150 million people would have voted for me if they, like, what? Like,
it would stop. If you didn't get it down 75, 80, 90% from day one, I'd be surprised. And these committees that they set up, it's laughable. It's a horrible thing. We would solve that problem so fast, and I'm calling on Republicans and Democrats immediately to get to Washington and institute the death penalty for drug dealers. You will no longer have a problem.
Again, how are we going to classify what a drug dealer is? Someone in North Carolina is going to be executed for selling someone a fucking, a nugget of weed, yet a couple miles north in Virginia, they're not a drug dealer because weed is illegal? What? It's a fucked up system. It doesn't make any sense. Now, again, if you really wanted to stop the epidemic or a pandemic of overdose deaths in this country, you would legalize and regulate drugs so that they were not in the hands of the black market. People are dying of fentanyl overdoses because they're buying things that they don't know fentanyl is in. People are dying of overdoses because they're buying bad products or things that were made and there was a problem in the production. Why? Because it's very unregulated, because it's in a black market. So again, this is creating a problem and then trying to kill people over it instead of just solving the fucking problem. And it's also like Donald Trump is one of the biggest drug users on planet Earth. I think Donald Trump has done more drugs in his lifetime and more different varieties of drugs in his lifetime than anyone I know and any of my social circles combined times 7, right? So I'm just going to say that much. Donald Trump, again, trying to be anti-drug, to me, it's hilarious. To me, that just sounds fucking hilarious. Also, where are his kids going to get their plethora of cocaine if all the drug dealers are going to be executed, right? Is he going to pardon all the drug dealers that supply Donald Trump Jr. With his fix every morning? I don't know. Anyway, this kind of shit's a little crazy. The death penalty stuff is a little crazy to begin with, but calling for the death penalty on anyone who's a drug dealer, and also, again, what is a drug dealer? Right? I don't know. Let's say I got an ounce of weed or whatever, and one of my buddies comes over and, we're going to smoke and I provide the weed, right? Does that make me a drug dealer? I'm not selling him the drugs, but I'm providing it. Does that make me a drug dealer theoretically? Would I get the death penalty for hosting a party? I'm just what are the rules here, right? I don't know, man. But anyway, I think that part is very dangerous and very scary, because if Republicans are cheering on the mass slaughter of innocent people, and again, it's not even going to fix the fucking problem to begin with, it's just going to make it much worse. We got a problem here, and I don't know, man. I hope the Democrats do something about that one, but a little scary. A little scary.